Hello, welcome to today's video. Now I've got something pretty special today. This is a first look at the Mason Macro. Now this is a brand new mountain bike that is coming from Mason. This is the prototype. I've been the first person to ride it. I'm very lucky to be the first person to have this bike, and yeah, today I'm going to talk through some of the details and tell you all about it. So the Mason Macro is an aluminium mountain bike that is coming from Mason. Now you may think, well, Mason already have a mountain bike in their range. That's the Raw, which is a steel hardtail. That's a bit more trail orientated, fairly slack front end and quite long. This is a bit more cross-country orientated, so you could use it for a cross-country race, or as I'm going to use it for the Atlas Mountain Race in a few weeks' time. So it's going to be a bit lighter, you know, and it's a bit more responsive in the twisty single track, or you know, if you're going bikepacking and you don't necessarily need a full-on mountain bike for like Atlas, Tour Divide, Silk Road. This is going to be the bike for that kind of, you know, race. So this bike has been a long time coming. I've been working on this with Don Mason for at least 18 months, maybe even longer. And essentially, as I said, I wanted something slightly lighter for these not so technical events. The Raw is an excellent bike, brilliant for something like the Highland Trail, where you've got lots of rocky technical descents and you want that long wheelbase. But for something like Silk Road, where you're always on like a dirt road or a kind of 4x4 track, you don't necessarily need quite the same level, you know, of off-road capability, and that's where this comes in. Now I had the first ride yesterday. I was doing a 4-hour mountain bike race through lots of twisty single track, and it was really excellent, nice and comfy, nice and responsive and quick in the corners, and I think it's going to be an excellent bike. Now a little bit more about the bike itself. The frame is aluminium, so it's Diadachi tubing, the same as every other Mason aluminium bike. So that's the Boca and the Definition, both of which I've ridden for a very long time. And yeah, they're made in the same small artisan workshop over in Italy. So it's going to be an excellent bike. It's well proven, and you know, it's got that Mason DNA in it. So a few features on the frame. So it's running the special Mason dropouts. You'll find these on the latest road and gravel bikes. So the Boca and the Definition with the Mason logo in it. So they're custom made for Mason. You have got some mounts if you wanted to run like a rack or something on the back there. I'll be running my tail fin rack, so I'll probably bolt it directly into there. And you've also got the mounts on the top here. There's quite thin chainstay, so nice and comfortable. There's no bridge in the back there, so it's not overly stiff, but obviously stiff enough that it's not waving around all over the place. You'll notice the bottom bracket is oversized as on the Boca, and that you can't see any cables on the frame. So the cables actually all run internally and they go in through the headset. So that makes it nice and neat, and as you can see, it looks really clean and really great. The gear cable comes out in the bottom to stay here, and the brake hose on the other side. On the main triangle, you get the two bottle cage mounts. So these are in the same position as they would be on the Raw. And then the top tube mounts here, if you wanted to have like a bolt-on top tube bag. And yeah, plenty of space in the triangle. They're nice and low down, so you should be able to get a frame bag, or as I'll be running for the Atlas, probably a half bag here and one bottle. There's also bottle mounts underneath the down tube. As you can see, the bike's a bit dirty, so you can't quite see those at the moment. For tyre clearances, I'm running a 2.3 Hutchinson Kraken tyre on the rear, on the Hunt proven rims, so they're nice and wide, and as you can see, there's plenty of tyre clearance. You get a 2.4 in there without any issues. Up front, it's a 2.35 Taipan from Hutchinson, again on the proven rim, which is super wide. And I'm running the Sid Ultimate SL fork. Now the build kit for this bike is just bits that I kind of had around. The wheels here are the ones I used for the Highland Trail last year. They were mounted on the Raw, and I've basically just put them straight in with the same tyres fitted. You know, it fits fine. The group set, it's a mix of SLX and XT. I'm not sure what the final spec will be on the bike when it's makes production, but I'm sure there'll be Shimano and SRAM options available, and a range of wheels depending on whether you want to go aluminium or carbon, as I'm running here. I'm running a rigid seat post. Again, there's quite a lot hanging out. I'm 6'3", so you know, it's kind of goes with the territory. This is just the Mason Penta seat post. I'll probably run a shock post for the Atlas Mountain Race, and I'd probably spec a dropper post if I was just going to be doing more general mountain biking. But for now, I've got the rigid post and that. This comes standard on most Mason bikes. The bars are the Ritchie trail bars, and again, I'm not sure of the specs, but they work really well. And I've got these ergon grips on. Again, not to everyone's taste, but I'm preparing for the Atlas mountain race, so you're gonna have lots of long climbs, so it's always important to have nice, comfortable hand positions. I mentioned the fork. It's the RockShox Sid Ultimate, and this is the 100mm fork. Now, the interesting thing about this bike is it is spec'd around 100mm front suspension fork, and you could run 110 quite comfortably. But the other thing you can fit if you wanted to is the Mason rigid fork, which you can find on the ISO, which is the kind of the steel bikepacking bike. So if you wanted to use this as a bikepacking rig, you could run that on there, and then you'd have options with all the fork mounts on there as well, and the proprietary rack and the mud guard that also come on the Raw. So it's going to be a really flexible bike. It's going to be much cheaper than the Raw as well. So yeah, it should be a really great affordable option for people who want like quite a bit of flexibility. Maybe you want to do some mountain biking, maybe you want to do like an ultra race like the Atlas mountain race or the Silk Road, or maybe even the Tour Divide. But maybe you want to load it up and go touring as well, so you could swap the forks out. You could run it around as like a normal like mountain bike doing cross-country race, as I did on Sunday. And yeah, it should be a really great piece of kit, and you know, super popular like the Boca. That's a really well-reviewed bike, and I'm sure this will get just the same kind of positive reviews. So there we have it. That is the brand new Mason Macro aluminium mountain bike. As I said, this is the first prototype, so it's the only one out there at the moment, so launch will be later in this year. I'll be running this at the Atlas mountain race, so keep an eye out for my coverage on that race. And also I'll do a bike check with my setup on for that event. So thanks for watching, give us a like and a subscribe to see more content like this, and see you in the next video.